This is an incredibly emotional and stressful time for the Peace Corps community, and I want you all to know that you are not alone. This is different from being MedSept, it is different from ET. You are all in this together. The entire Peace Corps community, the RPCV community, is here to support you, and we are trying to do everything we possibly can to support you all in your transition coming home. Now, I would actually like to use this video today to speak directly to the families who are going to be receiving Peace Corps volunteers back into their homes very shortly if they haven't done so already. As someone who was part of the group who was evacuated from Nicaragua in the spring of 2018, I would like to share my own experience of being evacuated with you all and what my reintegration, readjustment process back into the United States was like, what my parents did to support me, what my friends did to support me to ease the transition back into the United States. One of the first things that you should realize with your volunteer coming home is that they have been living in a developing country for quite some time. So they may have been in a situation where they did not have access to a flushing toilet, they did not have access to reliable electricity or running water. Perhaps they didn't have electricity at all. Maybe they were using a latrine this whole time. Many of them were probably washing their clothes by hand. The experience of getting food for themselves during the past months or even years that they have been abroad is going to be very different from what they're going to be experiencing here in America. Now, the difference between this evacuation and other Peace Corps evacuations that have happened in the past is twofold. First, this is the first global evacuation of Peace Corps volunteers that has ever happened in the history of the world. And secondly, the evacuees are being brought back into an environment that isn't altogether stable at all. It's not stable financially, it's not stable in the sense of there's a lot of unknowns. People don't know whether or not they're going to be able to return to their country of service if their service is over. So there's just a lot of unknowns. When I was evacuated from Nicaragua, it happened over the span of 5 days. Basically what happened is it was on a Wednesday that civil unrest began to happen in Nicaragua. I was in the third largest city, Esteli. So I was in a particularly vulnerable area where there were a lot more protests going on and police violence as the situation continued to escalate. Again, the protests started on Wednesday. By Friday, we were put in standfast. And then by Sunday, we got the phone call that we were being evacuated. And the next morning, a Peace Corps Jeep driven by one of the amazing Peace Corps workers at our regional office came and picked me up in a Jeep along with my other site mates and folks who were in my department of Esteli. So it happened incredibly fast. We were all consolidated in a hotel in Granada, Nicaragua. It was basically the only hotel that could accommodate all 168 of us. We stayed there for, I want to say, 2 nights, if I remember correctly, and then we took Tica Bus, which is a charter bus service, to Costa Rica, where we remained for about a week, maybe a little bit less than a week, just depending on when they were able to fly us out. So similar to the folks who are being evacuated from their country of service right now, they're not all being evacuated at the same time. Depending what their home of record is, they're going to be evacuated at different times. So they might be torn away from their best friends or significant others at different points during the evacuation process. Some of the volunteers returning home will be able to stay with their friends and significant others a little bit longer than others, just depending on when Peace Corps is able to get them out of the country. I know I saw a post on Instagram yesterday that, half a group was being evacuated at a time. So it really is varying. Just understand that your volunteer that is coming home will have different levels of support. Furthermore, the kind of mental health support that they will be receiving from Peace Corps will vary to degree in effectiveness. effectiveness. I know that when I was consolidated in Costa Rica, we did have a few mental health sessions, and I'll be completely honest, I found them very inflammatory and triggering, and they were not what I needed in that moment. I'll go into detail about that in a different video, but I know for me that was the last thing I needed, was to reflect on what was happening. I was not in a position to be able to reflect. I had just had my entire life ripped out from underneath me. I hadn't said goodbye to any of my community members except for my immediate host family and 2 teachers who came by on their motorcycle at 11 p.m. at night the morning before I was removed from site. There are a lot of raw emotions that your volunteer will be experiencing when they come home to you. For families back in the US, I know you are prepared to receive your volunteer in varying degrees. Some of you might have younger volunteers who served, so you have their, childhood bedroom still there available for them. I was lucky enough to be one of those volunteers who had my childhood bedroom available for me to come home to. If I was being evacuated today, I would not have that option, as my parents have moved out of my childhood home. I understand that there are different things that you all are coming home to. For our older volunteers, this is going to be very difficult. When I was evacuated, Peace Corps gave us $35 a day for all the days that we were on admin hold. We did get these $35 all at once in 1 month installments. We were on admin hold for 2 months, so we got $35 a day in one bulk for the month of April, and then we got in another bulk for the month of May. So it's going to be really tight for a lot of volunteers, and I think we're all kind of waiting right now on our federal government to see what our options are as far as if we're going to get a break financially. Is there going to be a rent freeze? We really don't know. But if you are a family member who is able to take in your volunteer, or even a friend of your volunteer who is also returning home, that would be incredible. We just need to be supporting our volunteers right now because they are going to be in shock. So what can you do beyond having a bedroom ready for them to come home to? Just be prepared to let them guide the emotional interactions. If they want to talk about their evacuation, they will let you know. If they don't want to talk about their evacuation, let them know that you are there for them, that you are willing to listen, that you're available to listen, and that their service matters. Because right now, a lot of volunteers are probably questioning whether or not what they just did matters. And it is so important that we as an entire Peace Corps community, the RPCBs, the family members, all of us, let these folks know that what they just did does matter and will have lasting impacts. It's so important. So just be there for them. I know when I came home, I really didn't do anything for 2 months. My mom was really great in just having meals prepared. My parents got really used to just me being around the house. I didn't go out a lot. My best friend was also really awesome in getting me out of the house. She would be like, all right, let's go get ice cream or whatever. And I know that's limited right now due to COVID-19. But if you're able to get takeout for your friend, let's say, or send them Uber Eats or Postmates, that would be awesome. They have so much on their mind right now. I know I wasn't trying to think like, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner? Like, I needed someone else to do that for me. Now, everyone's going to be different. So obviously what I'm saying could apply. Maybe it doesn't apply to all of you. I spent a lot of my evenings just reading and watching Netflix, hanging out with mom and dad, not really doing anything. And yeah, my parents were really awesome and really supportive in my transition back into the United States. And I ultimately ended up leaving again because I just wasn't ready. But I know the circumstances that we are under globally are so different. Please let me know if you have any questions about how you can support your volunteer coming home, especially in the time of COVID-19. Obviously, the kinds of counseling services that your volunteers probably need are going to be limited at the moment, but just do everything you can to be there for them, to let them know you're available to listen if they want to talk about it, and just know that they're probably experiencing culture shock, if not PTSD. Let's continue to support our volunteers, and volunteers, thank you for your service. It matters so much, and we're here for you. In the comments below, let me know what video you would like me to make next. I'm thinking about making a video that kind of talks explicitly about my own evacuation experience, but if there's any other topics that you would like me to address before then, please go ahead and comment below. And to stay in touch with my YouTube channel and any new videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well. It lets me know that these videos are valuable to you. All right, folks, hang in there. I'll see you in a few days.